I cancelled my son's birthdays and vacations to favor my daughter, telling him to be understanding. 5 years after he went no contact, I found out he's a tech multi-millionaire who just bought our house to evict us and put us in the cheapest nursing home he could find. A man in a gray suit knocked on our door on a Thursday morning and handed my husband a Manila envelope. Inside was a letter from a property management company informing us that our home had been purchased. New owner. Effective immediately. We had 60 days to vacate. My husband read it twice. He said, "This has to be a mistake. We've been renting this house for 9 years. The landlord never mentioned selling." I took the letter. I read the buyer's name. And my hands stopped working. The buyer was Rhett Caldwell. Our son. The son we haven't spoken to in 5 years. The son whose birthdays I cancelled. Whose vacations I redirected. Whose childhood I hollowed out to make room for his sister. The son who left at 21 with a backpack and a bus ticket and never looked back. He bought our house. He bought it the way you'd buy a tool at a hardware store. Casually. Efficiently. With money I didn't know he had. And the letter didn't say welcome home. It said 60 days. My name is Gloria. I'm 57. My husband Arthur is 61. And we are about to be evicted from our home by the child we treated like a spare part for 18 years. Let me tell you what we did to him. Not the version I've been telling myself. The real version. The one that bought this house and is now pushing us out of it. We had 2 children. Bria came first. Our daughter. She was everything we imagined a child would be. Bright. Energetic. Talkative. She walked early. Talked early. Read early. She was the kind of kid strangers commented on. Beautiful girl. So smart. You must be so proud. We were proud. We were obsessed. Rhett came 2 years later. He was different from the start. Quiet. Slow to warm up. He didn't hit milestones the way Bria did. He walked at 14 months instead of 10. He didn't talk much until almost 3. He preferred sitting alone with blocks or staring at things rather than performing for adults. The pediatrician said he was fine. Just different. Some kids develop at their own speed. Be patient. We weren't patient. We were disappointed. Not in a way we admitted. Not in a way we even fully understood. But the disappointment was there. Like a frequency only we could hear. Bria was the symphony. Rhett was the background noise. The favoritism started before he could spell his own name. Bria got ballet classes at 4. Rhett asked for a science kit at 5. We said maybe next year. Next year came. Bria got a piano. Rhett asked for the science kit again. I said, "Rhett? Money is tight. We can't do everything for everyone. Be understanding. Be understanding." Those 2 words. I said them to my son more times than I said I love you. Be understanding. The code phrase for, your sister comes first and you need to accept that without complaint. Rhett's 6th birthday. We planned a party. Invitation sent. A Saturday at a local arcade. 8 kids confirmed. Thursday night before the party Arthur came home and said, Bria's dance competition got moved to Saturday. Same time. I said, we can split up. He said, the competition is 2 hours away. We'd need both cars. I said, so what do we do? We cancelled Rhett's birthday party. 2 days before. I called 8 parents and said, something came up. We'll reschedule. We didn't reschedule. Rhett's 6th birthday was spent at his sister's dance competition sitting in a folding chair in a gymnasium watching other kids perform while nobody mentioned his birthday until 9 p.m. when I pulled a grocery store cupcake out of my bag in the car and said, happy birthday buddy. Make a wish. A grocery store cupcake. In a car. At 9 p.m. After watching his sister get a trophy and flowers and applause from 200 people. That was Rhett's 6th birthday. A cupcake and an afterthought. He blew out the candle. He wished. I don't know what he wished for. I didn't ask. Because asking would have required me to care about the answer, and I had already allocated my caring for the day. Rhett's 8th birthday. Cancelled. Bria had a recital showcase that required a $400 costume. I told Rhett we'd do something special next weekend instead. Next weekend I forgot. Rhett's 10th birthday. We planned a camping trip. Just him and Arthur. Fatherson. 3 days. Rhett talked about it for a month. Packed his bag a week early. He had a checklist he'd written in pencil on notebook paper. Flashlight. Bug spray. Fishing rod. S'more supplies. He checked each item twice. 2 days before the trip. Bria's club volleyball team qualified for regionals. The tournament was the same weekend. Arthur looked at me. I looked at Arthur. We both knew what was about to happen. And we let it happen anyway. Arthur went to Rhett's room. He said, "Buddy. Something came up with Bria's volleyball. I need to be there this weekend. We're going to have to push the camping trip." Rhett was sitting on his bed. Backpack already packed. Checklist on the nightstand. He looked at the backpack. He looked at Arthur. He said, "Are we pushing it or canceling it?" Arthur said, "Pushing it." "I promise." Rhett said, "You promised last time too." Arthur didn't respond to that. Because the last time was the 8th birthday. And the time before that was the 6th. And every broken promise had the same footnote. Bria needed something. Rhett needed to understand. We never went camping. The trip was pushed to next month. Then next season. Then never. The backpack sat in Rhett's closet for 2 years. I found it when he was 12. Still packed. Checklist still inside. Every item checked off twice. A bag that was ready for a trip that never came. I didn't cry when I found it. I should have. A normal mother would have sat on the floor and held that bag and realized what she'd done. I put it back in the closet and closed the door. Bria got everything. I need to list it because the list is the evidence. Ballet? Piano? Volleyball? Club fees? Private coaching? 3 summer camps? A car at 16. Paid for by us. A prom dress that cost $600. A graduation party with a DJ and catered food. A college fund we started when she was born. Fully funded by the time she was 18. $62,000. Rhett got school supplies. New shoes when the old ones had holes. Second-hand clothes. No extracurriculars because we couldn't afford them after Bria's activities were paid for. No summer camps. No car. No graduation party. His prom outfit was a borrowed suit from Arthur's closet that didn't fit in the shoulders. His college fund. We started one when he was born. Same as Bria's. But when Bria's ballet intensified at age 12, we started pulling from Rhett's fund to cover her competition fees. Not all at once. $500 here. $1,200 there. By the time Rhett was 16, his college fund had $4,100. Bria's had $62,000. I told Rhett we'd figure it out. Scholarships. Loans. Community college first, then transfer. I said, "You're smart. You'll find a way. Be understanding." Be understanding. While his sister's fund sat untouched and his was drained to pay for her leotards. Rhett was 15. He stopped asking for things. Not gradually. All at once. Like a switch. No more birthday requests. No more activity requests. No more "Can I have this?" No more "Can we do that?" Nothing. I told Arthur, "Rhett is so low maintenance." Arthur said, "That's good. One less thing to worry about." One less thing to worry about. Our son. A child. Described by his own father as one less thing to worry about. And I agreed with it. I thought it was convenient. A child who stopped asking meant a child who stopped costing. And every dollar he didn't cost went to Bria. Rhett was 16. Parent-teacher conference. His computer science teacher pulled me aside. She said, "Mrs. Caldwell. Rhett is exceptional. I mean that. He's the most gifted student I've had in 14 years. He's teaching himself programming languages outside of class. He built an app for the school library system on his own. Have you looked into advanced programs for him? There are coding camps. Scholarships. He could be doing incredible things." I said, "That's great. We'll look into it." I didn't look into it. I went home and signed the check for Bria's club volleyball nationals. Rhett was 17. He asked me one question. The last question he ever asked me as a child. He said, "Mom, can I apply for a coding boot camp this summer? It's $3,200. There's a partial scholarship, but I'd need $1,800 from you and Dad." I said, "Rhett, we just paid for Bria's nationals and her senior portraits and her prom. We don't have $1,800 right now. Maybe next summer." He said, "There is no next summer. I graduate in a year. This is the last summer it's available." I said, "I'm sorry, buddy. Be understanding. Bria had a lot of expenses this year." He looked at me. 17 years old. For maybe 5 seconds. Not with anger. Not with sadness. With clarity. The kind of clarity that comes when a child finally stops expecting anything from a parent and accepts the math. He said, "Okay. Okay. Last time he asked for anything. Last time he believed there might be a yes." Rhett graduated high school. No party. No fanfare. He walked across the stage. We were in the audience. Bria was on her phone. Arthur clapped. I took a photo. We went to dinner afterward at a chain restaurant. Bria talked about her college orientation coming up. Rhett ate in silence. He moved out at 21. No announcement. No argument. He'd been working 2 jobs since 18. Saved money in an account we didn't know about. He packed what he owned into 2 duffel bags and a box. He left a note on the kitchen table. The note said, I'm leaving. Don't contact me. I don't hate you. But I can't stay in a house where I've been the afterthought for 18 years. Bria got birthdays. I got the understanding. That's the whole story. I hope she was worth it. I hope she was worth it. My son's last words to us. Written on a piece of notebook paper. The same kind of paper he used for his camping trip checklist at 10. The checklist I found in the closet. The trip that never happened. Arthur read the note and said, he'll cool off. Give him a month. A month became a year. A year became 2. 2 became 5. He changed his number. Deleted social media. No forwarding address. He vanished the way only someone who's been planning their exit for years can vanish. Completely. Surgically. Without leaving a single thread for us to pull. I called his old friends. They said, we don't know where he is. Some of them were lying. I could hear it. They knew. They just chose him over me. Which means my son told people what we did and they believed him. Which means what we did was visible to everyone except us. Bria. Let me tell you about Bria. Bria went to college on her $62,000 fund. She lasted 3 semesters. Changed her major twice. Dropped out. Moved back home. Got a job at a retail store. Quit. Got another job at a salon. Quit. Moved in with a boyfriend. Broke up. Moved back home again. She's 28 now. She lives in our spare bedroom. She works part-time at a boutique. She makes $23,000 a year. She has no savings. No retirement. No plan. The $62,000 we invested in her future produced a woman who lives in her childhood bedroom and borrows gas money from her mother. The child we gave everything to is nothing. The child we gave nothing to bought our house. I'll say that again because I need it to sink in. For me. Not for you. You already understand it. I'm the one who's still catching up. The child we gave everything to is nothing. The child we gave nothing to bought our house. The eviction. 60 days. We called the property management company. We asked who the new owner was. They confirmed the name. Rhett Caldwell. I said, that's our son. The woman on the phone said, I understand, ma'am. The terms of the purchase are clear. 60-day notice. No lease renewal. Arthur called a lawyer. The lawyer said, the purchase is legitimate. The previous landlord sold willingly. The new owner has no obligation to continue your tenancy. You have 60 days. I tried to find Rhett. I searched his name online. I found him. First page of results. Rhett Caldwell. Co-founder. A tech company. Software. Venture capital backed. Featured in industry publications. Net worth estimated in the low 8 figures. 8 figures. My son. The boy who packed a camping bag at 10 that nobody ever took him on. The kid whose coding boot camp I wouldn't pay $1,800 for. The teenager whose college fund I emptied for Leotards. He built a tech company. He made millions. And the first thing he spent money on us for was an eviction notice. I found a company email. I wrote to him. I said, Rhett? This is your mother. We received the notice. I don't understand why you're doing this. We're your parents. This is our home. Please call me. He responded. 1 email. 6 sentences. The most expensive sentences I've ever read. He said, you canceled my birthdays. You emptied my college fund. You told me to be understanding while you built Bria's life with money that was mine. I am being understanding. I understand that you need housing. I've arranged a place for both of you. The details are attached. The attachment. A brochure. A nursing facility. 45 minutes outside the city. Shared rooms. Basic amenities. Monthly cost, $2,100 per person. The cheapest licensed facility in the county. My son. The multi-millionaire. Looked at every option available and chose the cheapest one. Not because he couldn't afford better. Because cheap is what we gave him. Grocery store cupcakes. Borrowed suits. Second-hand clothes. He gave us exactly what we gave him. The minimum. The leftovers. The afterthought. Arthur lost it. He called the property management company and demanded to speak to the owner. They said the owner doesn't take calls. He went to the company's office. They said they could only communicate in writing. He wrote a letter. No response. I wrote Rhett another email. Longer this time. I said, Rhett? I know we made mistakes. I know Bria got more than you did. I know we weren't fair. But we're your parents. We raised you. We fed you. We kept a roof over your head for 18 years. Doesn't that count for anything? He responded. 2 sentences. He said, you kept a roof over my head for 18 years. I'm keeping one over yours now. You just don't get to pick which one. I read that sentence 9 times. Each time it hit different. Each time another layer of what I'd done peeled back and showed the raw surface underneath. You don't get to pick which one. The way Rhett never got to pick. Which birthday got cancelled? Which vacation got redirected? Which fund got emptied? Which dream got pushed to next summer? He never chose. We chose for him. Every time. And now he was choosing for us. Bria found out. She read the emails over my shoulder. She said, he can't do this. I said, he can. He owns the house. She said, he's just being dramatic. He'll change his mind. I said, he hasn't spoken to us in 5 years. He didn't change his mind about silence. He's not changing his mind about this. Bria said, call him. I said, he doesn't answer. She said, go to his office. I said, he has security. She said, so he's just going to throw his own parents into a nursing home because of birthday parties. That's insane. I looked at my daughter. 28. Living in my spare bedroom. Making $23,000. 0 savings. The product of every dollar I redirected from Rhett. Every birthday I gave her instead of him. Every vacation I funded with his money. Every opportunity I handed her while telling him to be understanding. I said, Bria? He's not doing this because of birthday parties. He's doing this because for 18 years you got everything and he got nothing. And I'm the one who made that decision. Every time. Without asking him. Without considering him. Without once treating him like he mattered the same as you. She said, that's not my fault. I said, no. It's mine. Arthur and I started looking for apartments. 57 and 61. Combined income $71,000. After taxes and expenses the budget was tight. 1-bedroom apartments in our area were running $1,400 to $1,800. We couldn't afford the neighborhood we'd lived in for 9 years. We started looking further out. Smaller places. Worse areas. I drove past our house on a Tuesday. There was a crew outside. Painters. Landscapers. New mailbox. Rhett was renovating it. Not for us. For the next tenant. Or for sale. Or for himself. I don't know. But the house I'd lived in for 9 years was being improved by the son I'd neglected for 18. My mother called. She said, Gloria. I heard about the house. I said, who told you? She said, Arthur's brother. I said, what do you want me to say? She said, I want you to think about something. When Rhett was 12 he came to my house for the weekend. He brought a sleeping bag because he said he didn't want to be a bother. He said that. 12 years old. I don't want to be a bother. Do you know how a child learns that phrase? From being treated like one. I said, Mom? She said, he also brought his own cereal. A box of Cheerios in his backpack. Because he said he didn't want to eat food that wasn't for him. 12. Bringing his own cereal to his grandmother's house because someone taught him that resources weren't for him. I said, I didn't teach him that. She said, you taught him exactly that. Every cancelled birthday. Every emptied fund. Every be understanding. You taught him that other people's needs came before his. And he learned it so well that he brought Cheerios to my house in a backpack at 12 years old. She said, now he's a millionaire and he's giving you the cheapest option available. And you're surprised. You taught him the lesson, Gloria. He's just applying it. The Cheerios. I didn't know about that. 12 years old. Backpack. Own cereal. Because my son had been conditioned to believe that resources weren't for him. That he wasn't worth the expense. That asking for things was a burden. And he took that conditioning and turned it into fuel? He took the nothing we gave him and built an empire. Not despite what we did. Because of it. He learned at 6 that nobody was going to throw him a party. So he learned to throw his own. He learned at 10 that nobody was going to take him camping. So he taught himself to survive alone. He learned at 17 that nobody was going to pay for his education. So he educated himself. He learned at 21 that nobody was going to build his future. So he built it himself. With his own hands. His own code. His own money. And the first thing he did with that money when it came to us was give us exactly what we gave him. The minimum. We moved out. Day 58. 2 days before the deadline. Arthur loaded a rental truck. Bria helped. I carried boxes. We moved into a 2-bedroom apartment 30 minutes further from the city. Smaller. Louder. A parking lot view instead of a backyard. Bria is still in the spare bedroom. Still part-time at the boutique. Still borrowing gas money. The $62,000 daughter in a $1,200 apartment. Rhett. I found one more article about him. A profile in a tech publication. The interviewer asked him what drove him. He said, I grew up in a house where I learned early that I wasn't the priority. That taught me to become my own priority. Every company I've built, every product I've shipped, every dollar I've earned started with a simple understanding: nobody is coming to save you. So you save yourself. Nobody is coming to save you. My son said that in a published interview. About his childhood. About us. The interviewer asked if he was in contact with his family. He said, I have people in my life who chose me. That's my family. People who chose him. Not us. We didn't choose him. We chose Bria. Every time. For 18 years. And he noticed. And he counted. And he left. And he built. And he came back with a Manila envelope and a 60-day notice and a brochure for the cheapest nursing home in the county. Arthur hasn't spoken about Rhett in 3 weeks. He sits in his chair in the new apartment and watches TV and doesn't say the name. Bria asked me yesterday if I thought Rhett would come around. I said, no. She said, never? I said, we canceled his birthdays for his sister's dance competitions. We emptied his college fund for her Leotards. We told him to be understanding for 18 years. He understood. He understood everything. Better than any of us. And he responded with the exact energy we gave him. Minimal effort. Minimum investment. Cheapest option available. I said, he's not coming around. He already came. He came with a Manila envelope. That was his visit. That was his version of showing up. The way a grocery store cupcake at 9 p.m. in a car was our version of a birthday party. My daughter is in the spare bedroom of a 2-bedroom apartment. My son is in a tech publication talking about self-reliance. My husband sits in a chair. I stand in a kitchen that isn't mine. And somewhere in a house that used to be mine that is now his, there might still be a closet. And in that closet there might still be a backpack. Packed for a camping trip that never happened. Checklist inside. Every item checked off twice. Flashlight. Bug spray. Fishing rod. S'more supplies. A 10-year-old boy ready for an adventure his parents never gave him. He found his own adventure. He just didn't take us with him. Be understanding. I finally am.